What comes after Love at First Sight? Trouble on Film Threat Reviews. Hi, I'm Alan Ning. I'm with Zorianna Kit, and today we review Monday. A spark on a Friday can lead to a sizzling weekend fling, but what happens when you get to the inevitable Monday? It's directed by Argyris Papadimitropoulos, stars Sebastian Stan and Denise Gough. So we have a couple here, two strangers who meet in Greece. They immediately get it on after a Friday night of partying. And now they move in together while living in Greece, kind of a change in plans for the Chloe character. What did you think of Monday?
You know, this is the type of movie that, like, all the songs you hear about, the titles of songs, like this is the groovy kind of love. This is the love in a dangerous time. This is the, love is blind, love is whatever, because this couple is just like, they're so into each other that it's doomed. The film begins with like an arrest and the film ends with an arrest. And so this is the couple that you would love to see together, just because their chemistry is there, but it's really just sexual chemistry, nothing else. And so it's not gonna happen. So you just kind of enjoy this ride. I mean, it's a very sexy movie. There is a lot of
it's like how to solve a marital problem or a relationship problem, have sex. I mean,
yes.
that's essentially what happens here.
Yes. And so there's lots of that. And they play two Americans who are living in Greece. And so the scenery is gorgeous. I mean, it's like a travelogue. You're like, what? Can I just let me call my travel agent and book a ticket to Greece? Like, I want to go, because all they do is dance and party and, go to raves and clubs and have sex and then have more sex and drink. And it's just this fun whirlwind thing. And then things kind of there's a little bit of a wake-up call when they decide to move in together. And that's when you realize that it takes a lot more to hold a relationship than sex. And that's where things begin to kind of unravel. But they don't want it to unravel, though. That's the thing. They don't want it to unravel. But that what I love about what I love about the character of Chloe is that she's kind of the wiser one, and she realizes at some point that she's attached herself to someone who is, kind of a man-child, and it's not really going to go well for her. And you can just read all of that in her face. Mm-hmm. And she knows that he's probably not the one, but she still decides to stay. I think partly because it's revealed that he has a kid that he doesn't see, and she wants to help him. And then they kind of pinpointed on, she's like the reason he's allowed to see the kid. She's the responsible one. So
that idea brings stability into his life. And that's what so I have two big thoughts about this one. The first one is basically, what I like about movies like Monday is it's a character study. It's a look into the human condition. Here's what I found fascinating was just this idea of two Americans, two expatriates, basically homesteading now in Greece, setting up their life in Greece. And there's a lot that all entails is, you're a foreigner in this new country. And now you're establishing your life there, your work, your vocation, and maybe even eventually a family at that point. And then there's that interaction. You talked a little bit about of the Chloe character, who is more or less the adult, the parent in this relationship. But then you also have the Mickey character by Sebastian Stan. He's the guy who runs away from his problems. He's the guy who puts on airs of confidence, and he's a nice guy until you get to know him for a long period of time, and then you start seeing his true nature come out, which quite frankly is every relationship ever. It's just how now you weather those changes or these new revelations when you find out who the person you married or partner with is not the person you thought they were at the very beginning.
Yeah, the character arc in this movie is great. I mean, so many films that we watch don't always have good character arcs, or the characters aren't fleshed out enough, and you don't really see a progression. But, you know, these characters are one way at the beginning of the movie, and as things occur and happen, you really see a transformation. I mean, Mickey still ends up being the man-child. It's not like he grows up,
Yeah.
but there is a transformation that he goes through, and so does she, because, you know, there's so many factors in this relationship that come in. Like, they both have exes that they have to deal with and that interfere in their lives. They both have careers that don't lend themselves to actually both being done at home. Like, if this was the
pandemic, and they don't blend either. Yeah, they have circles that they've been a part of that just clash. Basically.
Yeah, but you know, one of the things that I kept wondering, and when I was watching this movie, I was going, damn, this film is like a throwback to a whole different era, because you can never have that much dancing and clubbing, like, just because of the pandemic. This is just, there's no way we can even make this movie that's populated with all these people having a great time. Like, it almost feel now at this point just slightly like a throwback, like it's just not happening right now.
It's funny you say that, because I thought the movie took place like in the 80s, and then they started pulling out their iPhones and realized, oh no, it's the present.
Yeah.
One criticism I have of the movie is it's highly predictable, and that in a way threw me out of really engaging with the movie. I mean, I liked it, but you know, you have these two people who are just perfect for each other, falling in love, making love, and this is all in the first 10 minutes, and you realize, well, this ain't gonna last, and the ball starts rolling downward, and you know they move in together. Well, you know where this is going, and there's just this sense of, you know, exactly where this story is going before it happens, and that kind of lessened the film for me. And I think by the end, I thought it was an interesting ending, but it's not. The arc, yes, there is a character arc, and you talked about it, but I think great films have a greater arc, have a takes the characters to a further level, a higher level or a lower level at the end to really be able to call itself, exceptional and great. And as much as I enjoyed the story, I just didn't feel like it got to that level.
You're right. It doesn't get to that exceptional point, because for all the explosions that this film has, the fights, the big dramatic, sequences that you see with a couple that's in love but not good for each other, there is no one especial, like, there's no one climax that kind of cracks open the whole thing, because you're it's going to be doomed, but you think that there might be one specific thing that just leads to that, and the ending kind of is that thing, but at that point it's too late to introduce that as the thing, because you can't just introduce it and then end the movie. But I didn't mind the predictability of it, because we knew that it was all going to go downhill. It's kind of like, that, so you just kind of watch the events unfold. But it wasn't exceptional, although I do think our two leads are great. I always love watching actors whose work is really prevalent from Marvel films, who then take on projects outside of that. Like we reviewed Cherry with Tom Holland. And so it's always interesting how an actor crafts his or her career outside of the Marvel universe. And I really enjoyed watching Sebastian Stan in this role.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, because I only know Sebastian Stan really from Winter Soldier, and that character is wearing masks. He's very quiet. He's very stoic, and I did enjoy finally, you know, and if you're watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you do see a more open version of the Winter Soldier, and you see a lot more of Sebastian Stan's acting and abilities, and this one much more so. I think you do kind of get an idea of who he is.
Oh, we see much more than his acting. I mean,
yeah.
You see him head to toe with no clothes on.
Yeah, well, he just posted a picture on Instagram of his butt in the middle of a public street. I mean, that matches with this character from Monday. You know, and I think when I say that it's predictable, it's Titanic predictable in the sense of there's an iceberg coming.
Yeah,
and you see the path that they're heading toward that iceberg, and there's just nothing, in my mind the anxiety builds because it's coming, it's just a matter of time. Oh yeah, here we go, we're picking up speed, that iceberg is about to hit. And that's kind of the feeling I got watching most of it. It's a 2-hour movie, so it's fairly long.
It's interesting to me why they were so invested in making it work when there were so many things going against them. Like when the credits start rolling, that even though they're continuing to try to make it work, that ultimately, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, they are not going to end. They're not.
Unless they can find a good counselor, maybe. A good marriage there. Yeah. I think that's the thing that I think I liked about it and what connected me to it is I know people like this. Their story is not that far off from people you would know or I would know. And their marriage is heading a direction you see before. I mean, it happens all the time when you have, shotgun weddings, so to speak. You don't know that person until you know that person.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. It's a psychology study for me, and that's what I love about movies. Those are the movies I'm drawn to a lot.
My favorite scene in this film is when they decide to host a party with all their friends so that his friends can meet her friends and have this, evening at home, this soiree. And of course it's disastrous because all her friends are completely immature and her friends are a little more refined. So the whole thing is just, as Chloe says, this couldn't have gone worse.
Yeah, my favorite was, hey, I have a gay friend, you have a gay friend, let's get them together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm thinking you really like this movie. You like the stories. It's great to see Sebastian Stan kind of set himself apart from Winter Soldier if you've not seen his previous work. So I'm going to guess you gave it a 7.
Yeah, I gave it a 7. It like you said, it was not exceptional, and it could have been, or it would have to be to get those higher scores. There had to have been more. But it's not. I thought it was an interesting take on that type of concept, genre, or that type of a relationship. It's not something that we've seen 1,000 times. So I appreciated the originality of it. And yes, it was really nice to see Sebastian Stan on screen in this way. And she was fantastic as well. I'm just not familiar with her work, but she was really good too. So 7 for me. I don't think you enjoyed it as much as I did, but not by that much. I do think you wanted more, and that's what's going to hurt it. And I think you probably gave it a 6 for you.
Yeah, no, I gave it a 7. Good performances, good location. It is kind of long. I think we feel somewhat the same way. And in improv, we call it stakes. You need a story that has higher stakes to it to really be a compelling and emotionally grabbing movie. I like the story. I like watching these two people. I liked how it developed. But the stakes just weren't high enough to really boost it into an 8 or a 9 level.
Yeah.
And so there we go. Okay. So with that, be sure to like, subscribe, comment below on what you thought of Monday, and which is a horrible title when you're trying to look for it in your email.
Yes.
So with that, let's get out of here.